Good morning. It is book week in Scotland, and I think I'm going to start off my Scottish TBR with Quine's Poems in Tribute to Women of Scotland by Gerda Stevenson. But later, because apparently my library account has been deleted, so we'll have to deal with that first. Reconstructions of people, and I think this girl was from the Bronze Age, that helped to inspire this collection, really make me emotional, and I really loved that poem. And I loved that the next one was about Nessie, because it was such a contrast, and because this can be a collection that is sincere and also fun, and it's inspiration from history and people and place. I also really love that there are little footnotes, because I am, as ever, a nerd. But I don't know, there is a tone in some of these that I'm not quite sure about. I think On the Deep Minded is like the one that stands out to me the most. This idea of like men's wars, and I'm a woman and I'm going to sail us to Scotland, no matter what like the laws say, which is like very girl bossy, but also like you like weaving peace and freeing your slaves, like you still had slaves. Yeah, like the tone of it is very I don't like it. And to be clear, that is a critique of the tone of some of these poems, but to concentrate on one, I also really don't like the idea of it's very, the Peace Weaver thing is just, it feels like you're trying to big this woman up, and it doesn't really, like, the emphasis is on her freeing the slaves, not on her having them. It feels like, yeah, it just feels like you're so trying to big someone up that you're kind of brushing the flaws away. Like, there's a very clear narrative there. And also, people have always been against slavery, but it was a norm, and it just feels like you can meet history where it was, and it's not doing that. And I kind of get the sense that it's not interested in doing that. I knew from the introduction that some of these poems were going to be in Scots, which is fine, and I love that actually, but I was confused by the choices here. It started, I think, with the woman who crowned Robert the Bruce, one of Mary Queen of Scots' handmaids, Mary Queen of Scots, and then, I don't get it, but it's fine. And then we got on to like 9 haiku for Esther Inglis, and I don't understand why you have chosen this mode of poetry. this language. I think as well, haiku always kind of boggles the mind for me when it comes to English, because you can't really get haiku in English. Was it 575 form is like distinct enough to be its own thing, but it doesn't have. There are so many other elements to what it is in Japanese that it is not technically the same thing. Yeah. I do quite like the idea of having the poems written from different perspectives, sometimes from like a book that was written. What I don't like about that is being like, oh, I'm a modern book. I'm not like that romantic froth. Like, I'm not vapid. And then the next one is talking about being clamped into a corset, and it's like, it is a support garment like bras. It can be uncomfortable like bras, but this idea that they're torture devices is just really fucking stupid. God damn, I need to stop picking books to blog because I hate them. I am going to be honest, I completely forgot that was the guy's name. And it is. I'm sorry, that's so funny. So, this book, in its introduction, claimed eldritch is a Scots word, which would be really fun if true, but I don't think it is. And I did have a little bit of a quant around the internet, and the sources that I've looked at have said the origin is unknown, but it has. They are all kind of pulling from Old English, the Old English word for kingdom, and also el, which means like foreign or strange, or they are putting forth elf, which is fascinating. But yeah, not great to open your introductory paragraph with that. Good morning. I have to issue an apology. I'm really glad that I went and started the collection. I'm not going to finish either one today, I don't think. But I'm glad I did that because I really needed a break from the poetry. But Corset's Bad has become such like fictional shorthand for this woman is progressive that it's just a fucking joke. But people did genuinely hate corsets, just like some people genuinely hate bras today. And that could have been true to the person the poetry was about. Yeah, well, that's my bad. Got in my feelings about that. But yeah, corsets or support garments. People conflate corsets in general with tight lacing, which no, there were different kinds of corsets, and the idea that women over a few hundred years with corsets and stays would subject themselves to torment their entire lives is kind of stupid and also really insulting. The kind of like really the tight lacing and the waist training are things that have to be like tailor made for you. And people did working class people did wear them and work in them. And also, ugh, this whole like corsets are oppressive thing is like, men also wore corsets, right? Like Thomas Chew, for one, who was a naval officer and wore his out to sea. The sun came out. So I actually found a paper from the University of Leeds discussing the etymology of Eldritch and its relation to Old Scots. And I will put that down in the description. And also there is a few articles about men's corsets and Thomas Chu. Some of them do kind of talk about corsets for women as purely like a fashion thing rather than a support garment thing. One even talked about women's being a fashion thing, and then immediately in the next paragraph talk about men's as a support garment. Which, yikes, but yeah, they're there. The last poem is on page 135, so we're doing quite well, and I will actually finish it today. But, yeah, we are not doing well. The Flitting of Red Shoes and Blue Shoes is one of my favourite poems, and I think that's kind of really putting into perspective a little bit about what I don't like about the others, in the sense that this is about an actress and a dancer dancing. It's told from the perspective of her shoes, and it's really good and wonderful and really fits the person that it's talking about. Whereas Frances Wright, it's like, oh, she's, involved in abolition and she is against slavery. And they mention Neshoba, which is, but they only name drop Neshoba, which was a settlement. She bought enslaved people, wanted to educate them so that they could then buy their freedom and be transported to Haiti or Liberia. And it's like, So she was still purchasing people and making them buy their freedom from her. And she was doing this because she wanted slaveholders to not lose money. I don't think you thought this one through. Also, can we just talk about Frances Fanny Wright? Because it says page 58, right? But page 58 is a continuation of a poem, and it is not Frances. So for me, I wanted to read this poetry collection in order to learn about historical figures. And in that count, I have, and I am going to look up quite a few more. I do really like that there were a lot more Scots poems than I expected there would be, and it stretched my language muscles in a way that I have probably needed for quite some time. I did much enjoy the poems towards the end, far more than I did in the beginning. But I chose not to give it a rating all the same. So for reasons of D&D, I haven't finished the first story. I am really enjoying it though, but it is quite hard to read. You saw the size of the text relative to the book, and it is a lot of words on the page, and it's kind of hard for me currently to not lose track of where I am sentence wise, line wise. It's not always a problem. This comes and goes. It's probably because I'm really tired, but yeah, it's really exciting because that means there's so much in this book, but it's also really kind of daunting because there is so much in this book. I wanted to close out with my TBR. I had 7 books on it, which was very ambitious, and I knew it was over ambitious, but I am really looking forward to the rest of them, and also some of them are later installments in a series that I have begun, and I love those series very much, so I want to talk to you about them. The first was A Gift of the Sea, which is part of the Shaun Acha series by Tristan Gray. It is dark fantasy, it is drawing from like Scottish mythology. There is Scots text in it. It's fantastic. It's really dark and atmospheric and magical, and also the first book was 55 pages, the second and third are 36. It does a lot with the space that it has, and A Gift of the Sea is the third book, and it's really exciting to me. She has a new companion, and it mentions selkies and deals with the sea itself, and it's going to be so good. As It Was Told to Me by Sir Walter Scott is a short kind of 3-story novella published through the Association for Scottish Literature, and I really like this association because they put out free ebooks. This one is for Walter Scott, of course. It has an introduction. I will tell you who by in a second. But I recently finished Devil I Am Sure, which was a 3 short story collection of James Hogg, and I really enjoyed most of those stories, but very much the introduction. As It Was Told to Me is introduced by Daniel Cook. Our Lady of Mysterious Ailments is the second book in the Edinburgh Nights series by T.L. Hoocher. This is a YA fantasy, dark fantasy dystopian series about Ropa, who is a girl who can talk to spirits. The first one introduced us to the world, and it was very much focused on the world building, to the detriment of some people's enjoyments, but I really liked it, and I am very much looking forward to what it has to show now. There are 3 books in the series currently. Then it's Gaelic Proverbs, edited by Alexander Nicholson, which is a monster of a book. And the last book is The Coffin Roads by Ian Bradley. These are roads to carry the dead to burial. They can be found across the Highlands and Islands, but I believe it also covers other funerary customs and traditions. Thank you for watching. Bye.